Welcome back to Empire Academy. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a dropshipping e-commerce site that claims to have made over $200,000 since launching just 9 months ago. And what's really interesting is that this is a great example of someone who identified a business opportunity based on changing world events and then executed on that opportunity with lightning fast speed. And they made a lot of money doing so. But before we get into that, let's take a look at what we're going to be covering in today's episode. First off, we're going to review the site data on Flippa because this website is currently listed for sale. Next, we're going to take a look at the site, their content strategy, and what they're doing to make money. And then finally, we're going to talk about how to build a site like this so that you can act quickly when you identify a new online business opportunity that involves drop shipping or a current event. So let's get started. Here is the listing on Flippa, which is uvsanitizerusa.com. And they sell UV sanitizing wands for sanitizing surfaces and things like that. And in case you're not already aware, Flip is a really cool site where people buy and sell websites, apps, online businesses, and domain names. But it's also a great place to learn about what other successful online entrepreneurs are doing and get a behind-the-scenes look at information you wouldn't normally have access to. But it's also important for me to disclose I do not work at Flippa. I'm not sponsored by Flippa. I'm not the seller of this listing. I'm not brokering this listing. And I'm certainly not promoting this listing or any other listing we cover on this channel. So you should always remember that the numbers that we're taking a look at and all of the information should be verified. Remember, this is just an interesting case study, commentary, analysis based on information the seller has made publicly available to anyone who has a free Flippa account. So remember, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm certainly not your financial advisor. I'm just some guy on YouTube. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at what's going on with uvsanitizerusa.com. And I did notice that this is a listing that is being brokered by someone. And so I don't know this individual, Joe Burrell, it looks like. But and I don't know if he sells his own websites or if he just brokers stuff. But he does have over 1.2 million sales. So he definitely knows, seems to be doing something right, know what's going on. But let's look at this site. So first off, it's an e-commerce site. It was built on Shopify. It's only 9 months old. And it has averaged, and we're going to see that the profitability swings from month to month, but they have made over $22,000 on average per month. Very, very impressive. And only being 9 months old, it's not surprising to see that they have a low authority score for SEMrush because it takes time to build that up. But they already have 144 domains that are referring, that have linked to them, 710 backlinks, and they've ranked for 39 keywords. What you have to remember is this is a niche website. I love niche websites. And from what I can tell, this website only sells one product. So 39 keywords could be more than enough. And it looks like they're already ranking for UVC sanitizer or wand sanitizer, the best version, UV sterilizer wand, all sorts of stuff like that. So it looks like they know what they need to rank for, and that's what they're working on. So let's come down here and take a look at these financials, which are very, very interesting. So the site launched in March of 2020. And when we get down to the listing description, we're going to take a look at some more details about the site launch. But this site was built and launched in a single month, which is extremely impressive. And it looks like it probably launched towards the end of March. So if you look at how much money it's made, March, they made just a little bit of money. But look at that. The first full month in operation, April of 2020, $37,000, almost $38,000 profit that first month of operation. $27,000 the next month, $43,000 appears to be the highest profit month so far, and that was in June. And then we do see things starting to taper off. It looks like it was significantly lower in October, started to come back up in November. We don't know exactly what's going on here. I can say for sure that you can tell that they were spending a lot more money back here in some of the earlier months. So the spending on what we're going to see shortly, which is Google Adwords, that could have dropped off. Not really sure what's going on. So I'm not going to sit here and do too much speculation. But the other thing you have to remember is in March, April, May of 2020, you got to remember what was going on at that time. And so they were like right out the gate. This is a perfect example of someone who saw an opportunity, pounced on it, and executed their strategy and started making money. There was no analysis paralysis here. Whoever the seller of this website is did an outstanding job. Again, just identifying that opportunity and then making something happen. They went out and executed. This should be your goal. I'm not saying your goal should be to go out there and do UV sanitizer wands or anything like that. What I'm saying is your goal should be when you see an opportunity, especially if it's an opportunity that is time sensitive, that has to do with some kind of current event. You do not want to get bogged down. You want to get to market as quickly as possible and as cheaply as possible. So we've got to compliment them on that. And again, not sure why the revenue has dropped off as much as it has. This person could be working on other projects. It could be that the market's just getting saturated. You got to remember that early on, you couldn't find a mask anywhere. Now you walk into any store, gas station, grocery store, anywhere you walk into, they're selling masks. So I haven't actually seen UV sanitizer wands being sold, but that doesn't mean that that's not something that's still out there and selling. That could be making its way into mainstream stores. I don't know. It could be, again, that this person has just decided to focus on other things, or that the market has just gotten really saturated, or that the price of the keywords has gone up. We don't know. But again, very interesting numbers, and it's just a perfect example of what is possible if you move quickly. So let's come down here and take a look at some of the notes and the description below. Oh, and yeah, so this this listing is linked to in the description below of this YouTube video. So if the listing is still up and you want to go and take a look at more details and things like that, you can sign up for a free Flippa account and view all this. Looks like they are, so again, drop shipping business model right here. Sources products from suppliers in China, sells to customers in the US, created March of 2020. Again, so impressive how quickly they moved on this. As a result of current events, as you can see right here, main goal of providing customers with UV sanitizing products. So specifically this UVC sanitizer wand. And it says the entire operation fully automated, which includes Google Ads, order fulfillment. So order fulfillment right there, you know that they have somebody who's fulfilling their orders. They're not sitting there with 1,000 UV sanitizer wands in their apartment or in their home, in a back bedroom, in their basement. They have a company that's fulfilling the orders and dealing with the packing and the shipping. That's great. And they buy their stock from an Alibaba supplier. So we're going to take a look at all of that. Really, really interesting stuff to know. And so let's see this kind of what's included with the sale. We're not going to dive into all of that really. It does look like they have a YouTube account. I visited it. I think there was like 2 videos. One was a product demo video and maybe one was like a review that somebody had posted. And just talking about that. So again, you can go into all the details. We're going to try and keep this really high level, but and so it says that why is this person selling? To invest in real estate that they manage. So they're wanting to move on to other things. But this, again, it's just so interesting how quickly they move. So since March of 2020, they're doing drop shipping, as we've already talked about. And there's something else that I saw down here. Yeah, so like the expenses are really low for this. They have a Shopify site that they pay $79 a month for, and some other minimal expenses. And it said their refunds are like less than 1%. And I keep thinking, don't hold me to this, but I keep thinking I read somewhere either in this listing description or on the website or something like that, that an item has to be defective or broken in order to qualify for a return. That's a great strategy to keep your returns low. Another thing that I've seen people do and that I've personally done, and you'll see this on Black Friday sales and things like that sometimes there'll be a policy where if an item is on sale, then it is not returnable. And you can just put your items on sale and then you're not going to have any returns. So that's interesting to see that they have a super, super low refund rate. And talks a little bit about, look, 7 hours a week is what's on average it takes them to maintain this business. So answering emails, making sure the fulfillment's going well, they're keeping their supply chain up. All really interesting. Now here's what we want to know. How are they getting their traffic? How are they getting their sales? So main source of traffic is Google Ads. So that's right there. And again, as we've talked about in other videos, the prices for Google Ads can fluctuate quite a bit. So you never know how sustainable something is going to be. Sometimes things can be great for a little while and then it gets more competitive and then it's great again. You just don't know. But Google Ads is where they're making their money. And I found that very interesting because initially, when I first saw this product listing, I assumed, because it's such a visual thing, seeing the sanitizer wand, and we're going to see it once we hop on over to their website in a second, but I assumed that they were using social traffic, but they were really using Google AdWords. So again, taking advantage of a opportunity or seizing a market opportunity. That's probably a better way to describe it. And it says 9.4% of customers are returning customers. So really interesting. And then here are opportunities for growth. Talk about, again, you could do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, more SEO, all that sort of thing. And I think that's pretty much to kind of break down what they're paying for it based on the number of units. And then they say, hey, here's how many we've sold. And it looks like most people do order 1 unit. So all good stuff to see. This is available for you to look at if you want to go take a look at the website. But let's take a look at their site. So here we are. And let's start off on the home page really quick. Here, this is their home page. And it also said in the listing description that their main demographic of their customer is 40 to 70 plus. And so here's what it is. This is the only product that I've seen that they sell on their website is this UV sanitizer wand. And their homepage is very basic. They show you the wand. You got a shop now button so you can get it. They've got a few customer reviews to build up some social proof and a little about us and then some selling points right down here at the bottom. But other than that, that's the homepage. Very, very simple. I like simple, especially if you're trying to move quickly. They didn't spend 3 months designing the perfect site or anything like that. They moved quickly and they designed something that would convert. I respect that. So here you go over to the product page, and this is the main content page. You saw how basic the homepage was. This is the majority of the site content on this one page. So they show you the wand. This is the 2-minute YouTube video that I was mentioning is on their channel. They've got some other stuff here for social proof. I like this, what they've done here. They've shown the various uses for the wands. You can think, oh yeah, so I can clean my computer if you're still reporting to work or something like that. Or clean your clothes after you've been out shopping. Clean your car. That's great. It's very visual. It makes people say, hey, I need this product. I can use this to keep myself healthy and safe. So that's pretty much what this kind of product, what the marketing should do. And so then it goes in here talking about how it works, features, things like that. Got some frequently asked questions. Protect your family. Great marketing right there. Little comparison of why this is the best one. And then down here, I like this. I like the scarcity marketing. There's only 7 units left. And I like the fact that they have given people the option of not just buying 1, but buying 2 or 3. And if you buy more, you save. And it makes total sense that a product like this would lend people to buy more than 1, because some people might want to buy one for their car and they want to have one at home. And again, if they're still reporting to an office or a place of employment somewhere, they might want to have one at work. They might want to buy one for a friend or a family member, something like that. So I think that's a great strategy, having these bulk offerings. And then you go down here and we've got the customer reviews. Always good to have that. And then I love how they've put this grid down here, which are more reviews, but then it would be like pictures that people submitted showing that this is them using it. So you see people using it. Here it's being used on the laptop. Here somebody's doing something on what looks to be like their kitchen counter, something like that. And that's pretty much it. It looks like they have a few other pages, like pretty much any website's going to have an About Us page, a shipping, privacy policy, all that good stuff. But for the most part, that's it. It's really a very streamlined site because you've got your homepage and you've got the product page, and I really like that. So now that we've taken a look at that, let's talk about what you would need if you wanted to build a dropshipping site like this using the same kind of infrastructure that we just reviewed. So first off, you're going to need a product to sell. And we're going to hop on over to Alibaba and take a look at that. So Alibaba and AliExpress are two very good places to find items for drop shipping, or if you're just needing inventory for e-commerce. Both of these sites are based out of China. There are also sites that are based out of the US that provide items for drop shipping and things like that. But Alibaba and AliExpress are definitely two of the biggest sites out there. And there are multiple differences between the two sites, but in my mind, the main difference is Alibaba generally has a lot more options if you're going to have larger order amounts, whereas AliExpress I've personally found to be great if you're going to have smaller order quantities. And there are other differences as well, but I just kind of keep that in mind. And the other thing, because you can see, even though we're on Alibaba right now, and I just searched, as you can see, UV sanitizing wand, there were all sorts of options that came up. Here's one with a 1-piece minimum order. Here's one with a 10-piece minimum order, 100-piece minimum order. So I'm not saying that you can only find small order quantities at one side or the other, but that's really important because there's two main types of drop shipping, in my mind anyways. You've got the strategy where you hold inventory, and you've got the strategy where you don't hold inventory. In this case, this seller is holding inventory because it actually said in the listing description that they're using a company called ShipBob, which we're going to look at, to fulfill their orders. So what do I mean by holding inventory versus not holding inventory? The seller of this website appears to be buying inventory and then shipping it from the seller to their fulfillment company, and then when an order comes in, the fulfillment company ships it out to the customer. The other way to do it, and what I think is the ideal way to do it, is where you don't hold inventory. And that's where the quantity becomes very important. And not all sellers on Alibaba or other product marketplaces like this will do this, but some sellers will let you pass your order, like somebody goes on your website, they place an order, that order goes directly to your supplier, and then your supplier sends the order directly to the customer, which means you've completely cut out the fulfillment piece of it, which means you don't ever have to hold inventory. That is the ideal scenario in my mind. Now, if we take a look at what this product actually is, I do agree with the seller's decision to hold inventory, because this is a timely purchase. Somebody purchases this because they want it now. They want it to make them feel safe. They want it for a specific benefit. And there's all sorts of variations in shipping time and things like that can happen when you're ordering something that has to come from out of the country. So I think in this case, because it did say on the UVSanitizerUSA.com website that they were offering free shipping. So if somebody's getting free shipping and they want it now, it totally makes sense to be shipping it from in-country. So I do understand why they did that. Okay, so we've taken a look at possible places where you can source a product, because remember, if you're trying to capitalize on some kind of opportunity that comes along, you see an opportunity, you need to move fast. Obviously, the seller is not going to have somebody go out and custom design and manufacture a UV sanitizer wand. They need something immediately that they can sell. So that's why it makes sense to use a marketplace like Alibaba or any of the other ones that we will discuss in future videos. So I totally see why they've done that. So you got a product to sell, but then you got to sell it. That's the other piece of the puzzle. And this seller has used Shopify. And I totally agree with that decision in this case. So the websites what I use to build a website is it's either WordPress or it's Shopify. And if it's e-commerce, then I'm using WordPress and WooCommerce. But in this case, I completely see why they would use Shopify, because it's so easy. If you use Shopify, you don't have to worry about web hosting. You don't have to worry about connecting as many different things and payment processing as you do if you're doing WordPress. My background is as a freelancer and a business owner is web design. So I'm confident that I could go and recreate that site on Shopify or on WordPress, WooCommerce in just about the same amount of time. But that's not everybody. So if you don't have a background in web design, what you don't need to be doing is going and learning how to build a website, how to get hosting. You need to move quickly. So if your background is not being a web developer, you don't have a lot of experience with that or with WooCommerce and hosting and all that, go with Shopify. That is what I would do because it can help you move so much quicker. They have the $79 a month plan, and there's multiple differences. One of the things I think is important is professional reports, because you definitely want as much analytics and data as you can get if you're making that kind of money. So I absolutely see why they went with Shopify. Great decision. WordPress would also be a great decision, but I can't knock anything that I've seen so far with their infrastructure setup. So let's talk about ShipBob, which is this is a company I'd never heard of. But basically how it works is, so they have the inventory shipped. ShipBob, as you can see here, they receive the inventory. They receive the inventory. They store the inventory. They pick and pack when an order comes in, and then they ship to the customer. And I don't know if ShipBob does returns. They probably do, but I don't know whether or not they do. I know Amazon Fulfillment will do returns for you and manage that process as well. But it was interesting to see that they use ShipBob, and again, can only speculate as to why. Fulfillment by Amazon is what I'm most familiar with, but back when Amazon got just completely slammed with new orders and things like that, there was a time period where if you were using Amazon to fulfill products and they did not consider your product to be essential, they actually were not letting sellers, they were not accepting inventory shipments from their sellers. So I just remember, and I do not believe that's still going on, but at the time, I just remember having basically a chill go up my spine from an entrepreneurial perspective, that if you were counting on Amazon to be your supply chain to fulfill your orders and things like that, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we can't take your orders. Wow, I mean, that is so disruptive. So it is good to know that there are other options other than Amazon. And again, I think for the most part, that's probably back to normal, but very disturbing from, hey, if you had all of your eggs in one basket, that could have been very disruptive. So it's good to have different options. Now, let's head back on over to the listing and discuss 3 very important takeaways from today's video that I want you to remember. Okay, first off, drop shipping can be incredibly profitable from an online business perspective. As we've seen here, this seller did an amazing job and they made a lot of money. Second, it's definitely possible to launch and scale a dropshipping business very quickly if the idea is sound, demand is present for the product you're selling, your marketing is on point, and you have the right infrastructure in place. So you need those 4 things. You need a good idea, demand for what you're trying to sell, good marketing, and an infrastructure that can support the sales when they come in. If you have those 4 things, then you're probably going to do all right. And the last thing that I want to leave you with today is that current events can definitely provide online business opportunities, but you have to move quickly, because it's possible that a new opportunity will remain viable for a very long time and you're going to make money for a long time. But it's also just as possible that new competitors are going to come in, gobble up market share, profit margins are going to shrink, and it's not going to be as good as when you started. I'm not saying that's what happened to this seller, but that's always a risk with any kind of time-sensitive opportunity. So remember, getting to market is the most important thing. Do not get bogged down in the details. Make sure that you do not get analysis paralysis and make it happen. And the other thing is that even if you do have a short run and you make $200,000 or $1 million or whatever in a short amount of time, but it's not something you can sustain forever, who cares? You just made a ton of money in a very short amount of time that lets you pay your living expenses. It's money to invest or money to pursue other projects. So, and you might also get like a one-time of what I would call an event, which is where if you make all that money and then you get to sell the business for a lump sum, that could just be the icing on the cake. So that's it for today. If you like today's video, please help out by subscribing to the channel and hit the bell so that you'll get notified about future videos. And if you know someone who might find this video useful, please share it with them to help them out and to continue spreading the flow of information about dropshipping, online business, and all that sort of thing. Because if there's one thing that we know, it is that you do not want all of your income dependent on an employer or one source of income. You want multiple sources of income, and you want to hit the point where you are financially independent, where you rely on no one other than yourself and your skills to make money. That's the whole point of this channel. Our goal is to help you get financially independent so that all of your money is not coming from one place, and so that you are not reporting to a job. You are reporting to yourself, running your own business. And lastly, if you have something to add or a request for future videos, let me know in the comments below. And we'll see you here next time at Empire Academy.